assistance in providing the resources and the voice the community needs to be better in this new normal? Stacy? Is Stacy here?
Yes, I'm sorry, I was on mute. So I am here. For some reason, I thought I was in panel 3 for today, but I guess that's for tomorrow. So let's see, what unique perspective do you feel you bring to your community? Okay, well, I would just say I'll look at it professionally and personally. From the professional standpoint, I have the education, the expertise, the work experience. And then from a personal standpoint, I have the dedication, compassion, and empathy to see my community not only survive, but to thrive. And so I think that passion, that dedication, assists in pushing agenda and advocating for your community.
All right, thank you. And same question to Charlie. What unique perspective do you feel you bring to your community that promotes assistance in providing resources in this new normal?
Being a licensed marriage and family therapist, I have an opportunity to really start to educate couples on what to look for as they start to transition into this new normal. Data out of China said that after quarantines, divorce rates spiked because a lot of couples had a lot of difficulty in quarantine and didn't transition well into the new normal. And being able to be a provider, I can provide those resources, that knowledge, that education to make sure that couples are navigating into this new normal the best way possible.
Great, thank you. And for Kimberly, what unique perspective do you feel you bring to your community that promotes assistance in providing resources for us to be better in this new normal?
I'm a clinical social worker, and so I also work with children in a school setting as well as an outpatient mental health clinic. A lot of individuals have been impacted by the new normal, and so what I bring is, first of all, they want to be heard. They want to be able to verbalize and express their feelings about what's going on because of loss and grief, because of health related issues that they've been impacted by family and loved ones, and definitely being able to provide that necessary support and connecting them to resources possible. So that's the items that I would bring to the table, as well as that's my nature. That's who I really am, is being there for support.
Great, thank you. And now we're back to Stacy with the next question. How does one's perception, interest, and experiences impact the reception to change in this new normal?
Okay, I feel like your perception is going to be the starting point for how everything happens. So it's going to depend on how you look at it. For me, I am an introvert by nature. So the whole new normal, the social distancing, that's what I do. I'm a pro at that. Enjoying my own company, being creative, and finding things to fill my time. So in my perception, when I bring it to clients, and I'm a therapy and private practice, it's about showing them the positives and what are the good things that come out of this new normal. This is a time for you to get to know yourself, be introspective, learn some new hobbies, new interests, maybe reconnect with your spouse in a way that you haven't done that, because now you're all in the same space. And the same thing for reconnecting with your children. So just putting a positive spin on what can kind of come out of what we're calling the new normal.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. Same question to Charlie. How does one's perception, interest, and experiences impact the reception to change in this new normal?
My thoughts on that is just one's willing or unwillingness to change. If your perception or your interest is hesitant with being able to make the changes necessary moving into this new normal, what will happen is you'll stay in that comfort zone and continue to try to thrive in whatever that place is. One of the biggest components to change is just the fear of failure. That fear of failure just pushes us into a place where we say, you know what, I don't want to experience the consequences of failure. I don't want to feel the what it's like to fail. And so I stay in my comfort zone and avoid change. And it's really about just trying to challenge your perspectives of failure, learning how to rebound after failure, pick up and readjust and reset and move forward.
All right, thank you. And for Kimberly, how does one's perception, interest, and experiences impact the reception to change in this new normal?
Basically, I look at it as this was a really, for a number of people, an eye-opening experience, as well as challenging experience for a number of individuals. I think that we have to acknowledge that this happened, and it's an unfortunate situation for folks. We can also use that as inspiration. For example, my inspiration that came out of this whole situation that I thought about, but I was going to do it later than the time that I set, is to start my own business. So that's what I use this time, and also to learn and grow and continue to be passionate about my work to the community and people.
Great, thank you. Okay, back to Stacy. How would or how would the religious community deal with the rise of COVID-19 related addictions?
Okay, I feel like because in my private practice within the last month or so, maybe two, I have seen in talking with my clients there is an increase in substance use, primarily alcohol and marijuana, and it seems to be a direct result of the COVID-19, the stay-at-home orders, and all of that. And so, looking at the religious community, I know right now they're not really holding services, but for those who can live stream and offer their services that way, who can maybe post on social media, if they have a social media page, letting the community know that they are available, having somebody who can answer phone calls and just be ready to present information and resources to the community. And so pretty much just being visible and still available in this time of the new normal.
Thank you. And same question to Charlie. How can the religious community deal with the rise of COVID-19 related addictions?
This question hits home for me. Last week, I just buried a good friend of mine due to alcohol dependence. And, you know, as we process kind of what was happening with him, you know, when you look at quarantine and the impacts that quarantine can have on the mental health, it does drive a person to figure out how to cope, whether in positive ways or negative ways. Unfortunately, because of the quietness that quarantine can bring, the silence, facing a lot of that internal turmoil and challenges, people just need to cope the best way that they can. Religious communities need to do more of what we're doing now, reaching out to the community, educating them on those addictions, and really just address topics that might be uncomfortable, that to make sure that people are okay in this new normal.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And same question for Kimberly. How can the religious community deal with the rise of COVID-19 related addictions?
I think continue to be involved with the people, connecting with them somehow. I seen like um, pastors preaching online through Zoom and other social media methods. Also, this is a time that I've seen where a number of individuals have not only the addictions contribute to loss and grief that they have encountered, as well as job loss, and also, laid off in financial difficulties. And so they all connected with the addiction. So I think being more involved, connecting, and providing that sense of support, and for these individuals to be heard is what's very important during this time, especially.
All right, thank you. Okay, last question, back to Stacy. How has the Black Lives Matter movement on a global platform made an impact in your field, and how do you plan to use your voice?
Okay. Well, my background is in social work. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and then my PhD is in public policy. So as a social worker, policy professional, social justice and social equality is on the forefront. I went into social work because I wanted to change the world. And I know that's a big goal, but that's what it was for me when I started. And then I moved into policy because I felt limited as a social worker by some of the policy and some of the bureaucracy. For me, it has always been in the forefront. I've worked in places where I've been the only Black person or one of a few. So I've always used that as a platform to speak out if there were things that were said that were racially offensive or inappropriate. It doesn't always make for a comfortable situation, but that's not my problem. So I have always addressed it in that way. I'm now in private practice. So I try to post things on my social media page, and I engage my clients in a very honest and frank way.
Great, thank you. And Charlie, how has the Black Lives Matter movement made an impact on your field, and how do you plan to use your voice?
It has made a huge impact in the field. I'm now seeing just a lot of different perspectives from the Black Lives Matter movement. And I have the opportunity to really just hear in confidence their perspectives on how they feel about the Black Lives Matter movement on both sides. I can't really utilize my voice in a lot of those moments, but I do lend an ear, and that is to be able to hear the frustrations, the anger, the worry that is coming about this movement. And it's interesting because in one session I'll see the angry, Black person that this George Floyd incident just triggered some past feelings or experiences that they've had. And then that next session, I'll work with somebody that's privileged and they share their own perspective of what it's like to go through this and not know how to be there for those of color. And so it's really just being able to listen to them, help them navigate through those emotions so that they can have a much better voice in moving forward and working with other people.
Great, thank you. And same to you, Kimberly. How has the Black Lives Matter movement on a global platform made an impact in your field, and how do you plan to use your voice?
The Black Lives Matter movement has made an impact in the field. A number of people have been impacted by the injustice and racism that continues to have happened, and people are fed up. I'm going to just say that. So it definitely have helped in the, people are more coming out as far as going to seek mental health services because it has disturbed them tremendously, unfortunately. Even children have been exposed and witnessed the unfortunate situation and event that has occurred. It has definitely made an impact, and people are talking about it. I welcome people to talk about it in session because I don't believe in shutting anyone down. If they want to, they are there to whatever to speak on whatever is bothering them. So that's why, I allow them to speak on that, and I provide that support. How do I plan on using my voice? Definitely, I don't stand for racism. I don't stand for injustice at all. I have continue to use my voice in such as continue to vote. I'm really speaking out against it. I have done that, social media. Negative posts have been on Facebook, email certain authors of articles to really speak on that. So I plan to continue to use my voice and allow myself to be present for not only clients, for any of my friends or anyone.
Great. Thank you, Kimberly. So that